to Real Talk with Saieed Ali. I am your host, Saieed. Thank you for joining us tonight. A little update for you viewers. Chairman of the Para Fuel Trading Company Limited, Nairi Alfonso, has confirmed that the $1 million promised by former Prime Minister Stuart Young to families of the 4 divers and 1 survivor in the 2022 Paria diving tragedy has not been paid. She confirmed that today, viewers, that the families did not receive any money. Now, on the Paria diving tragedy, Alfonso said, the new board in place since mid-July was working to resolve this matter. So Trinidad and Tobago former Prime Minister Stuart Young promised the people them their thing and didn't even give the people their money. Imagine that, eh? But nevertheless, Trinidad and Tobago, let me hope them don't end up in a situation like this, no? Because there's a matter and there's a saying that goes, do so and like so. No matter what time I'm about to talk, I will tell you as it is. The truth is the truth. I hope they do end up in situations that require these sorts of attention. So as we move on into our news tonight, after standing for more than 2 centuries, the historic Port of Spain prison will soon be decommissioned and the inmates there will temporarily be relocated to the maximum security prison in Aruca and the Carrera Island prison facility. Minister of Homeland Security Roger Alexander went on to give details of the 4 phases. Listen to this.
This will be done in 4 phases. When you look at it, the first phase will be, in fact, removing prisoners from Port of Spain to the maximum security prison in Aruca. Condemned persons and persons on remand. And we'll continue doing that until the prison is no more. Relocate condemned prisoners from Port of Spain to the maximum security prison at Golden Grove. To absorb of the convicted prisoners from the Port of Spain to the maximum security prison Golden Grove and Carrera Islands prisons facility.
So now viewers, Alexander said the installation on the new gallows would be also done in one of the phases. Asking for a restart to hanging, Alexander evaded questions on when hanging will resume. However, he issued a warning to criminals to stop killing lest they end up on the gallows pole. Sounds nice. Listen to this.
If men can move, so can equipment. So we'll move the gallows to the next location, size it up properly, have it measured in the manner which it's supposed to. So if it come down to that, the gallows could be used for its intended purpose. What I can say to you is this. It was never removed from the laws of this land. What I suggest citizens do is try to do the right thing and stop murdering persons.
You know what I feel they should do? You see the prisoners who were sentenced to hang and they're under 5 years in the prison? Let's set an example. Set an example. I believe that is the only way to stop the killing, the senseless killing in Trinidad, by setting an example. We have prisoners who were condemned to hang in the prison. We have the gallows functional. But what does it keep back? Human rights? So ask human rights now, when that individual went into somebody's home and killed them, what was the human rights? Where was the human rights? Set an example. We have men and women in the prison that have been sentenced to hang. What you waiting on? Taxpayers' money feeding them. So I believe if we set an example, this would stop. And I feel I should start pushing that, you know. Why are we minding people in the prison that were sentenced to hang when the gallows is functional? When the pole is functional? Come on, Auntie Kamla, you need to set an example. Wayne Surge, Alexander, you all need to set examples. Until you ain't go forward and set an example, a vigorous example, let them know here what's going on. This is an example. 50 people were sentenced to hang. They are under the 5 years. And you know what? We're going to hang them. Save a couple million in taxpayers' money and dedicate that money elsewhere. Come on, Auntie Kamla. Come on, Auntie Kamla. Trinidad and Tobago would praise you for this. You see, if you're going to study the human rights, ask the human rights directors on them, why did this individual go and kill that individual? They can't answer. Oh, well, you know, he should not, he should think better. He's supposed to have his head on. You know, killing is not good. But let me tell you something. Words can't bring back a dead man, you know. Words cannot bring back a dead man. What could stop the killing is set an example by that individual who did the killing. And that's the only way. Too much of murder in the country. Too much of murder. Senseless killing. Drive-by shooting. Let me tell you something. It's way out of context. It's senseless. It's senseless. So if the law of the land was never removed, according to Alexander, why are we minding prisoners that's supposed to be hanged? Why are we spending taxpayers' money, millions of dollars? They didn't care about their individual life. So why should we care about them? So, Kamla Prasad Bisasa, Wayne Sturge, and Roger Alexander, if you all sit down, put your heads together, ask yourself how much taxpayers' money is being spent to mind this individual. How much taxpayers' money? That same money now, you could dedicate it somewhere else. To education, to policing, to hospitals. And it's that simple, you know. It's that simple. Let me tell you something now, viewers. If this was a real Muslim state, we would have been different, you know. We would have been different. But nevertheless, viewers, ask whether the new facility will be built. Alexander said that the prison presently at the maximum security prison will be upgraded. Ask if there is room at the Aruka facility. Alexander said that MSP will be used to capacity, as well as other areas are being looked at. Roger.
There's some room available at the new facility to have that done. All right, the MSP is a big area, you know, where it could take a lot of things, a lot of new infrastructure to treat it a lot of situations, and we probably will be looking at that. Although there are some other areas that we have located, maybe with the intention of treating with it in terms of prison and prison facilities.
So viewers, it's all that among the prisoner population are people who have not yet been convicted, and ask if he anticipated any pushback from the Law Association of Trinidad and Tobago or any other law bodies. Alexander said legal opinions were sought and he does not anticipate any fallout. So all well and good. They are set to do the transfers, and we wish them the best. We hope nobody try to escape, because they might get gunned down. I'm just saying. We go into education now, viewers. Education Minister Dr. Michael Dowlett has announced that a new unit of Special Reserve Police officers will be deployed at 50 high-risk secondary school in the new term. He said 10 primary and 10 secondary school are to have routine patrol. Dowlett.
Presently, the Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the Ministry of National Security, Homeland Security, and the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, is introducing police officers into schools across Trinidad and Tobago. And this is as part of a wider strategy to create safe and secure learning environments. The deployment plan is as follows. 2 police officers will be stationed in 50 secondary schools identified as priority institutions. 10 other secondary schools and 10 primary schools will benefit from dedicated police patrols to ensure consistent coverage and rapid response. And the reason behind this is that there has been rising incidents of indiscipline and violence in our schools. Recent years have seen increased reports of school violence, gang influence, and threats from external elements.
So now, viewers, when Dowlett was asked if the officers would be armed, now this education mixing with security here now, right? So listen this. When Dowlett was asked if the officers would be armed, Alexander stepped in as Homeland Security and said, those officers will be given non-lethal equipment that they can respond with in an effective manner. Listen.
This for sure, that those officers will be given non-lethal equipment that they can respond with in an effective manner.
Okay. So when asked directly, will they have guns or they won't have guns?
Well, again, non-lethal weapon that they can be able to carry out their duties effectively. Yeah?
So let's just say non-lethal. It will be a baton, it could be pepper spray, it could be a taser. They respond accordingly. I mean, you're going in school, it's obvious. It's obvious many parents who kick against officers with guns in school. But think about this present day school we have. Teachers, principal getting licked down, chair knocking over their head, classroom mashing up. And you call them students? You're under 18 and you're beating principal, teachers, and you're mashing up desks and chairs and they call you a student? You under 18 and doing all that mischief? Nah, man. You're under 18, but you're acting like you're over 18. Well, if you want to act like you're over 18, my response to you is take the over 18 shots. That is all. What you get? What you get? Don't say nothing. Stay quiet. You want to act over 18? Well, then you go get what was rightfully over 18. Before the post-cabinet briefing, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Junior Benjamin, explained the rationale behind armed officers, saying guns are tools of their trade, and officers being armed was a normal occurrence. Nothing wrong with that with me, so listen to this now.
We are saying that as a tool of trade, it is not something that is out of the way. Whenever you see a police officer, he's normally armed. So therefore, seeing the officer in the school with his normal tool of trade is nothing surprising to anybody. It is part and parcel. They are going to have both lethal and non-lethal things. And again, it is only there as a safety precaution to ensure safety and security in the school environment.
Speaking earlier today, Dr. Dowler confirmed that police officers posted in some schools deemed as high risk of violence will be equipped with firearm. Now, viewers, I see nothing wrong with this. Nothing is wrong with this. Listen to this.
As we indicated yesterday, officers will be in a full kit. Some of their kits will have lethal and some will have non-lethal weapons with them.
And by lethal,
Depending on the police assessment of the risk of the school and its environment. As I indicated in the press conference yesterday, you all in the press know what's happening around certain schools in the country. And so with the data we got from the police and together with from the Ministry of Education, the police has been guiding us in terms of how we approach the security measures in those schools.
And by lethal, you mean firearms, guns,
Yes.
right?
So viewers, parents of Trinidad and Tobago, with your sons and daughters going to school, at least you can get a sense of relief that there are police officers in the school. Now, the minister said in 6 months, this initiative will be assessed and a report will go to cabinet. Meanwhile, the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association President Martin Lumpkin has since expressed concerns over armed officers at school. So hold on. For 9 years, we are here, Lumpkin. Children getting bullied in school. Children getting battered in school. Children getting what ended up in the hospital. Some bust head, teeth, break hand, whatever the case may be. Battered body. We didn't hear Lumpkin. Where were you? Where were you, Mr. President? Where were you? So all of a sudden now you have a problem with police officers in school. Let me tell you something. When parents, son and daughters was getting bullied, how come you never jump out and open your mouth? How come? You lost your voice in 9 years, but apparently after 9 years done you get back your voice. Well, here what you do. If you lost your voice for 9 years and you just get it back, but maybe you should lose it again for the next 9 years. Maybe you should lose it for 9 years again. It's sad, yes? It's sad. Lumpkin had no issue with police presence, no issue with the police present, but he drew the line at guns in school. So when children bring to school knife and some bring in bullet, I believe somewhere in Toko, a school in Toko, they find a student with a bullet or something. Some up in one of them school in Grande, I believe. That hit the headline. What you have to say about that, Lumpkin? Absolutely nothing. No voice. Well, then lose your voice again for the next 9 years. Because police officers will be in the school whether you like it or not. So, seeing that you are the president, a tutor, have you ever visited any families who had their sons and daughters bullied and battered? I wish you could answer that. I wish you could answer that. Listen to this now, viewers.
Has always been hesitant on having armed personnel in school compound. As you're aware, some schools are the provider is MTS, and MTS can provide armed services as well, but that has not been done to my knowledge in the past. And we wonder why there's the need to have armed personnel on the compound of a school.
Lumpkin, I didn't hear for the 9 years. And to be honest, for the next 9 years that is coming, I really wouldn't like to hear you again. Honestly speaking on a live television show, I really don't want to hear you again for the next 9 years. Because we didn't hear you. So Trinidad and Tobago, for the parents, what are your thoughts on police officers being equipped with firearms at high-risk schools? What are your thoughts? I would like to hear from you. So viewers, we are going for a short commercial break, but when we come back, phone lines will be open, 238-6716. Let me hear what you have to say. I approve it.
We'll be right back.
At Real Talk Studios, we dedicate our time to highlight the glaring issues we face within our community. Catch us live every Wednesday between 7 to 8 p.m. Real Public Concern. Because your concerns are meant to be heard. Send your email to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com. Throws you a curveball, and you need a clear path forward. Trust Real Talk Wrecking Service to get you back on track. Whether you're stuck on the roadside or dealing with an unexpected breakdown, our 24/7 wrecking service is just one call away. Fast response, reliable towing, and a team that's got your back. At Real Talk Wrecking Service, we don't just tow, we rescue. Real Talk Wrecking Service, your lifeline on the road to recovery.
Tired of wasting precious time at the bank applying for a loan, only to be denied? We understand your frustration. Here at Real Talk Report Companies, we take a different approach. Contact Saieed, Managing Director of Real Talk Report Companies and licensed moneylender at 238-6716, 242-7690 or 339-1670. Feel free to visit our office at number 14 Carney Savannah Road, Chaguanas, or number 132 Superior Road, Victoria Village, San Fernando.
Welcome back.
So Trinidad and Tobago, I must remind you of the 6% offer that Real Talk Financing has for the month of September. Remember, make sure get your fixed deposit done at Real Talk Financing. 6% interest up front, viewers. You can't get it better than this. Remember that. Only for the month of September. So we're going back to the news. Former Education Minister Dr. Nian Gasby-Dolly has warned that deploying police officers to school without strengthening student support service is a short-sighted response to growing concerns over school violence. Gasby-Dolly, let me tell you something. You had not much input for the 9 years, so for the next 5 years that is coming up, me was you, I look for a nice soft sofa to buy, sit down on it, cross your leg, and continue staying quiet. Continue staying quiet. You had not much input concerning the violence in school for 9 years. So the 5 years that Mr. Dowlat is there for, Look for a nice sofa, make sure it's very soft. Sit down in it, cross your legs, and zip your mouth. Because you had 9 years to fix the school system in Trinidad and Tobago. And today, some parents think about moving a child from one school and carrying them to the next school. It's sad, but it's the reality. So zip your mouth. Saieed Ali, while supporting efforts to improve safety, said the initiative was not new and needed to be backed by consistency and resources. But Gatsby, you had do nothing in 9 years. Relax yourself. Relax yourself. You're talking about resources. All you had it. All you had it. Listen to this, viewers.
What we need to ensure is that it is consistent, it is continued, and it is backed up with the other resources. So usually it's the community police. I see we have trained some SRPs. You have to be careful about the approach of the officers in the schools. You also have to be careful about the general social interaction. That is important and a critical issue. When you're putting people in schools, you have to know who you're putting.
Gatsby, the only that put in police. It's police that put in, if you put in gangsters. You know, all the time he didn't have much to say. You know, all the time he had little to no improvements in the school. But all of a sudden you find your voice, all of a sudden you have opinions, all of a sudden you know exactly what to do. You know when this happened? When you're reaching your position. You know exactly what to do now. And that is what is happening with all the PNM ministers. Where's Faris? We don't see Faris again. Gonzalez, we don't see Gonzalez again. Where's Marvin? Anybody know if Marvin in Trinidad? Imbert, where's Imbert? So since Imbert made the statement saying that this government have no money, we haven't heard of Imbert again. And he was there for 9 years. So my question, I would always ask Imbert this, how much money did you put in the treasury? For the 9 years, your government was there. What was the growth? One thing I could tell him, but Saieed no stupid man, you know. A finance company I running. That I could tell you. Much. Call her good night.
Hi, Saieed.
Go right ahead. Short and sweet.
Now, Saieed, for all those years, the president of Tutor, Martin Lumpkin, had nothing to say of all the dotations that was going on, the school violence and whatnot, I think, including that of the negotiations for teachers and whatnot, who went forwardly and accepted the 4%. Huh? You had Nayan Gatsby Dolly as the Minister of Education, where our education was the worst of student failure and whatnot, and school violence and what have you. So I want to say this. I support the police present in the school with heavily armed. Understand why I say that? What happens then? Because the police wouldn't be among the students in the school itself. They would be outside in a security booth. What happens if they don't have any lethal weapon with them, and some parent or some gang or somebody decide to invade the school through some form of violence? How will they go defend themselves or protect the teachers? Let me say it's a comfort teacher or somebody in the school. I am saying therefore they ought to do it. And I want to just draw your attention to something, Saieed. I didn't heard about the Caribbean airline pilot that was kidnapped. You know, from what I heard today, that the police, the people called the police, Belmont police station, and they never responded. They have recordings of all the things that they call, the time and everything that they call the police station. I am calling on the Commissioner of Police to do two things. Investigate that matter. Find out who were the people or the police that took the report. And I would also like to know if that police officer or who took the report, did they refer that to the senior person who is in charge of the police station so that they would be aware. Because you must have somebody in charge of the police station.
Yes.
And if that person fails to do and to dispatch the police officers to their respective scene, they should be charged. they should be charged time, because if you're asking the people to work with the police and anything you hear or you see, don't stay quiet, call and make some contribution to whatnot to help solving crime. And this is a serious situation where the people say that they call the police station at so-and-so time and they tell them to respond, they never responded. So this is how we intend to deal with the crime. Get at the police officers and them. And they want, because what has happened, some of the senior police officers, the juniors and everything, covering up for them, Some of them, they may not be in the police station, or they send them to do errands and all kind of things.
True. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, my friend. So, viewers, let me tell you something. It's that time now where we had to go for a short commercial break. We're going for a commercial break, but when we come back, we're sticking to this story. All I will be surprised. Viewers. More when we return.
We'll be right back.
At Real Talk Studios, we dedicate our time to highlight the glaring issues we face within our community. Catch us live every Wednesday between 7 to 8 p.m. Real Public Concern. Because your concerns are meant to be heard. Send your email to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com.
Throws you a curveball, and you need a clear path forward. Trust Real Talk Wrecking Service to get you back on track. Whether you're stuck on the roadside or dealing with an unexpected breakdown, our 24/7 wrecking service is just one call away. Fast response, reliable towing, and a team that's got your back. At Real Talk Wrecking Service, we don't just tow, we rescue. Real Talk Wrecking Service, your lifeline on the road to recovery.
Welcome back.
So Trinidad and Tobago, listen to this, Saieed Ali, she said she received reports of delays in contract renewal for some student support staff, such as school counselors and social workers. Listen to Saieed Ali. We go black after.
I have been told by a number of officers that they are awaiting the contract renewal. So it's a very important thing, and I would love the minister to speak on it, whether we are starting the new term with a deficit of social workers and guidance counselors in the schools, because the police officers do not fulfill that function. So it has to be supported, and so I am, of course, at the education sector, I wish the initiatives the best, because it is our children. I still have a child in the education system, so I want what happens to work. However, because of my experience, I understand that if you don't put certain inputs, you will not get the right output.
Because of your experience. Saieed Ali has made me laugh, yes? Yes, make me laugh. So what I would like to know, Trinidad and Tobago, is that these contracts, student support staff contract, when did these contracts come to an end? These counselors and social worker contract, when did it come to an end? Last year? Year before? Because I'll tell you something, it's only about 4 months now this government in power. It's only about 4 months now, and Saieed Ali now getting called. So what Saieed Ali should have said Well, you know, viewers, in January or February or August, contract was supposed to renew. But she didn't say that. You're hearing and you're hearing and you're hearing, but what exactly was it this that you're hearing? We hope it don't fall back when you was in power, because you're going to be like Klong and them. Yapping your gum. Gasby Dolly also criticized the government on delay in distributing school supplies and book grant, and promised to deliver laptops and tablets to students, saying that these timelines are unrealistic. She is asking for answers. Look who asking for answers. Look who asking for answers. Gasby Dolly, a former Minister of Education. Ask Gasby Dolly what she did in 9 years for the realistic schools and the realistic violence and the realistic students. What did she do to enhance the education sector in Trinidad and Tobago? Listen to this, viewers.
So the question really is for me, understanding what the minister's actual timeline is, because obviously those promises are not going to be kept. So I would like to know, I asked the question, I didn't get any responses with regards to what is the process, where are you in the process, has the procurement been done, how was that done, who is the supplier, at what stage is it at? These are questions that you're not getting any specific answers to. What you're getting is these general promises of when it will be done, which I know are unrealistic. So we really would like, and the public would like, my constituents would like to know, what are the actual timelines that are going to be kept with regards to these grants. We are at the end of the holiday, to which a week was added, and we are still not there.
And this is why I'm saying, Gasby Dolly, you there for 9 years. Come out and tell Trinidad and Tobago now. Gasby Dolly, now you're getting the opportunity. Now you're getting the opportunity to tell Trinidad and Tobago and to tell Dowlat what you did for education in Trinidad and Tobago. Print your list, print your book, print your page, and come out, call the media. I will be there too. Call the media and sit down and say, you know what? In year 1 of me being in Parliament, I did this. And year 2 I did that. And year 3 I did this. And year 4 I did that. And it goes straight down to the 9 years it was there. Gasby Dolly, can you do that for Trinidad and Tobago? Can you do that for Trinidad and Tobago? I brought out this policy. I brought out that policy. I brought out the other policy. Come now, man. All I want is yap and yap and yap. But what we want is concrete evidence. What you did. 9 years now I on TV, Gasby Dolly. 9 years. So I want to see your 9 years of work for the schools. And you're good? If you could come out and do that Gasby Dolly, let me tell you something. The citizens of Trinidad and Tobago and I would give you a round of applause. We would literally tell you, well done. You're up for that challenge? Because right now people don't want to hear you concerning school education. They don't want to hear you. She's asking for answers. Nevertheless. Gasby also reject any suggestion and delays were due to funding issues. But all you always saying tighten me belt, all you have no money. Gasby Dolly, you say funding. Don't blame a delay in funding issues. Clogging Board come out recently and tell Trinidad and Tobago this government broke. Alright, that is one. All you run Trinidad for 9 years. What was the other problem? Kid Rowley always saying tighten your belt, tighten your belt, tighten your belt. So if Kid Rowley ball and tighten your belt for 9 years, and Clogging Board recently said his government have no money, how the hell you could come out and tell the public now that you reject any suggestion the delays were due to funding issue? Gasby, all it is only make all yourself clowns and fools. Because this is how the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago is look at all here. Dr. Rowley, tighten your belt for 9 years. Wean off the government. Cloggenburg recently said this government has no money. Now you, Gaspy Dolly, on the other side now saying don't blame the issues for funding issues. All make up all your mind. I am here to tell the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago what Ole said, and to put Ole in Ole place, and to open the eyes and the ears of our citizens in this country. Call a good night.
Good night, Mr. Saeed. Great program, great topic. Thank God for people as you, knowledgeable people in this country, intelligent and educated people like yourself and many others who call your program and many others who don't even call your program. So I will utter Gaspy Dolly should be ashamed of herself to even appear on television.
Correct.
Because her agenda in education was to destroy education, totally destroy education. Look at the young man who got the President Award from Naparima Boys College in San Fernando. Congratulations to you, my boy. I hope you continue to succeed well. Like those things, they suppress that and wouldn't use it to motivate other children.
Correct.
I used to use it to motivate my children. I said, look at this boy, look at this one, how successful they are. They hide that even the first 5 children in the C exam, all these things, they hide it. Shame on you, Gaspy Dolly. You try to destroy education. So, but I want police to go in the school fully armed. They must have tear gas. They must have everything on them. You have to instill fear on these no-good miscreants who go there to ensure that the students who want to study do not study. Right? So, Mr. Said, today the police, next week school is reopening, today the police had roadblocks throughout this country in the south. Anyway, all the 80% of the operation is south of the Caroni Bridge. From San Fernando, Cookie Roundabout to Rio Claro, they had big exercise. Over 100 police officers with about 30 vehicles. Only looking for criminals. You had 2 persons, a businessman and a pilot kidnapped. We don't know where they are. You call the police station. They didn't respond to the kidnapping of the pilot, very sadly. And you know, when they get to find out who is that police officer, I am certain he will be rewarded for that and promoted. I'm certain it will happen. We have to keep our eyes, because this is where policing is. Look at the Friday, you all come out to ticket. Man, I'm so angry. The ticket system like that on the Pity Cafe Junction, they stopped me and all, but thank God I had my vehicle in order and whatnot. Come on, you all are real hooligans to your citizens, your fellow citizens in this country. Gavarro, get a whole list of fight crime. Every day is kidnapping, home invasion, fight crime. Mr. Said, you keep up the great work you're doing, man. God will bless you. This country will fix you, Thank you very much, Mr. Said.
Thank you, my friend. So viewers, listen to this, She said her administration advocated for a means-test approach to device distribution and noted that under the PNM, laptops were given based on financial needs. Gaspy Dolly, wasn't you the one who said that you had to do a means test to get a laptop? Gaspy Dolly, didn't you say that? But I find it strange, all of a sudden you say financial need. No, we're going to Dowlett now. On August 25th, the Ministry of Education said grants were being distributed or disbursed in phases, with 5,248 payments made and 14,752 scheduled for completion by September 5th. By September 5th. So the only way now we are going to rate Dowlett, we have to wait until September 5th. And then we would know if his words came to pass or there's a delay. Or that we cannot say anything. I cannot judge. I cannot condemn. I cannot abuse. No, I cannot say anything until the 5th of September. And that is when we are going to know if his words will stand or fall. Thus far, viewers, he said that they are going to put police officers in school, and it came to pass. So a question for tonight to Gaspy Dolly, a former Minister of Education. What did you and your administration do to combat all school violence and bullying in school for the 9 years you all was in office? Gaspy Dolly, that's for you. to answer. Like I said, you want to challenge Dowlat? Dowlat was a former principal, I believe. So if you want to challenge him, Gaspy Dolly, he now start his ministry. He still have 5 years to go. So what you should do, Gaspy Dolly, is do a book of everything and proof, evidence, and come and show it to the public. Show the public what you do. You see, Clungy show the public what he did. After 9 years of being in power, after 9 years of being the Minister of Finance, after 9 years, he cannot say how much money he puts in central bank as growth for Trinidad and Tobago. But come now, as a few months, you ain't seen power to tell Trinidad and Tobago that this government has no money. If you ain't leave no money in the treasury, how the government go have money? Common sense. If your mother make no breakfast and put it on the table, how you go eat breakfast? You have to make it yourself. Viewers, we are going for a short commercial break, but when we come back, we go hear some more from Larry Hawaii concerning the forex measures being put in place by Central Bank when we return.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
At Real Talk Studios, we dedicate our time to highlight the glaring issues we face within our community. Catch us live every Wednesday between 7 to 8 p.m. Real public concern. Because your concerns are meant to be heard. Send your email to realpublicconcerns@gmail.com.
Welcome back.
So welcome back, viewers. Remember, Real Talk Financing is offering you 6% on our fixed deposit, viewers, interest up front for the month of September. Remember that, 6%. So instead of you getting, if you invest 100,000, instead of you getting 5% per year, which is 25,000 at the end of 5 years, you're going to get 30,000. 30,000. All because of the fact that we are in the 63rd year of independence, viewers, Real Talk Financing have decided to do this just for the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, like I said, if you invest 100,000 for 5 years, with the interest up front on the normal 5%, you will get 25,000. Right? Now, with the new increase of 6%, you're getting 30,000 instead of 25,000. Imagine that. I mean, you have your taxes to pay, but, oh gosh, all financial institutions have tax to pay. All. So Trinidad and Tobago, our numbers are on screen. Remember, call us, set up an appointment, come in, the documents, everything, and boom. 14 days time, the office is going to call you. You're going to get your interest, and you're going to be comfortable and happy. Remember, this is upfront interest, you know. Upfront. You had to wait 5 and 10 years, you know. 14 days time, you get a check with your interest. Remember that. It's only Real Talk Financing viewers and investment does these kind of thing. You know why? Because we are solid. Me having 30 years of experience in finance and being an accountant also, Trinidad, we growing. This is the oldest institution that is actually giving investors something solid and good in return. Go in any financial institution and see what you're getting and compare them to us. That is what I am telling you on a live program. Check your bank, check your credit union. See what kind of interest you're getting, when you're getting, how you're getting it. And then compare them to us. So, news tonight. Central Bank Governor Larry Hawaii has stated that measures are being actively examined to address the foreign exchange forex shortage in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, he is now encouraging people to bank their foreign exchange in local banks. Is one of the goals that Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago is looking to implement in the near future. How can we bank our money in Trinidad when we can't even get our own money? This is one of the questions I have to ask. How? You want to encourage us to bank our own money, the US dollar in Trinidad and Tobago in the local bank, but when you go over the counter, businessman like me now, I gain 200. How that happening, Larry? If you could tell me how this fixing, well then maybe I will start banking US currency in Trinidad and Tobago banks. Now, how I said, it takes about US $6 billion annually to sustain the local foreign exchange market. But that figure does not meet the full demand of forex. Listen to this.
And we have to find ways to incentivize people to move the gray market into the normal market, and of course the black market into the normal market. And those are initiatives that I've only started to consider over the last couple of months, how we start dealing with some of these things. In addition to the normal monetary policy initiatives that we'll have to implement to deal with the situation that we face right now.
He noted that annually the central bank provides about US $2 billion to the local banking sector to help meet the forex shortfall. In addition to encouraging foreign exchange earner to bank their money in local banks, Mr. Hawaii offered another method to help meet the local demand of forex. Listen to this.
Is to determine how each one of us can become foreign exchange earners. The fact of the matter is that as our oil and gas goes down and becomes less and less, more and more we are each going to have to face the challenge of how do we meet the foreign exchange requirements of the country as a whole.
Let me tell you something. That plan will take a little while. Now you want to encourage, let me talk on behalf of the business sector. As a businessman, I have US currency in the bank. Now when I go to the counter now, if I go into the US now, all I get in is 200. I have to go in the bank 5 days to line up for 200 a day. 200 at Trinidad and Tobago. You know why I am saying this? Because I experienced it myself. I used to hear people talking, oh, you had to go in the bank every day to get a little 100, to get that 200. I say, serious? I say, okay, no problem. I got up a morning, organized, went to the bank, 7:45, I in the bank line up outside on a line. First 10 people. When you went in out to the teller, well, you know, I put the money in for some 4,000 US. I want to travel, I want to do a little business, so I come to withdraw 1,000 US. Well, you know, Mr. Ali, the most you can get is 200. You know, you will have to come to line up tomorrow morning to get another 200. Really? Really? I'm a businessman. I had to go 5 days to line up in the bank to get $1,000. Make that make sense. My own money in the bank. But then Hawaii, on the other side, telling us to bank our money in the local banks. You see, we need to, before you say something like this, you need to come out and tell the people, you and your team need to formalize strategies before you come out and say, well, you know, we want to let the bank all the money down here. Okay, so can we get 5,000 when we go in? Well, you know, that could be a problem. That is the problem right there. And that is the problem right there. We can't get the cash. And another thing is in Trinidad and Tobago, I'll tell you this, in the banking sector. Let me tell you something now. I went to open a bank account, and I swear to God that I had to wake up my dead mother and my dead grandmother to sign documents. It's ridiculous. When I go to the US, hey, watch man, 2 pieces of evidence, 3 pieces of evidence, and you open a US bank account, you know. I telling all from experience. Your passport, your ID card, and proof of your address in the US, and that's it. You open your account. You feel like talking about hearsay? No. I am talking from experience. Your passport, your ID card, and proof of your address in the US, and you have a US bank account in front of you. So something needs to be done concerning the banking sector when it comes to opening an account. Because it's too ridiculous. Too much unnecessary, unwanted documents. And I decided to talk about it tonight. It's ridiculous. It's over ridiculous. Your ID card will show that you are a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. Your driver's permit will show that you are a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. Your passport will show that you are a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. Your job letter will show where you're working. Your proof of address will show where you're staying. Wait once again. My dead grandmother had to come and sign a document. My dead grandfather, who did about 30 years now, he had to come and sign a document. My grandfather from India had to come and sign a document. And it goes on and on and on. We are citizens of this country. The banks are in this country. And why is it so ridiculous? Is it that we always had to remain in the third world country? We always had to be treated like some, I really want to say it, you know, but some idiots. And when we see other countries doing better, it's like, wow, I want to go there and work. Really? Like we stupid. We dotish in Trinidad. But nevertheless, viewers, I've come to the end of our program tonight. It's a pleasure being here every night. Our rerun of this program is Monday morning coming. From 11:30 to 12:30, we'll be back here Monday night for Real Talk with Saieed, another live show. Until then, enjoy your weekend. Be good.